One distinction that came up in the great interview that Jeremy Scahill did on Drop Site News yesterday with Palestinians reacting to the news was a sort of distinction that when it comes to Biden, he's very much ideological in this regard. Like, he's expressed himself as a full-fledged Zionist who wants his legacy, or wanted his legacy, to kind of be pegged to standing with Israel, whereas Trump's is more transactional. And this guy's got a whole lot of things he wants to do right here. He's seen how much Gaza has tanked Biden's administration, hampered that administration. He doesn't want to have to deal with that. I do think that's a useful distinction. But I wanted to ask what you guys think.
Can I just jump in very briefly and push back a little bit? I hear that a lot. That Trump is transactional. The implication of that is that there is some consistent strategy to what Trump says or does. I refuse to accept that. Trump is only consistently inconsistent. So, okay, he's transactional in the sense that he's a businessman. He likes to make money for him and his kids, right? He likes to do deals and wrote books about it and sees himself as a deal maker. I get that. But in actual reality, the man is a narcissist. He's a dumbass. He's an ignoramus. He's a vain, thin-skinned little man. And the idea that people can't manipulate him is absurd. He's the most easily manipulated politician of our lifetime. So when people say, oh, well, he's transactional, he's not an ideological Zionist, even if I accept all that, which I'm not sure I do, he's surrounded by people who are. Like, you're telling me that Marco Rubio and as I say, Michael Waltz, and what about Mike Huckabee? The man who says there's no such thing as Palestinians, there's no such thing as a West Bank. I just want to know, what's Mike Huckabee thinking for the last 48 hours? He's okay with this? Clearly, stuff has been going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. There is long-term ramifications that we don't know about. And I think we have to really be skeptical of this idea that somehow Donald Trump's going to just do deals with the Saudis and the Turks and the Qataris, and that's why he's different to Biden, who's this lifelong Zionist. No, I mean, first of all, he's not even freaking president yet. We've got 4 years of shit coming down the line. Talk to me at the end of 4 years. If at the end of 4 years, Palestinians are free, if at the end of 4 years, Iran hasn't been bombed, if at the end of 4 years, there isn't another genocide in Yemen, then fine, I'll be the first to come on here and say I was 100% wrong about Trump. But come on, have we learned nothing from the first Trump term?
I mean, I think transactional can be taken in two different ways. Transactional it sounds like diplomacy, but I think when people say it, when people say it, it's more like anything for flattery. And to me, I think he is able to read the room. I think, and there's a line from one of his rallies over the last year that really stuck with me, where he goes, well, and Biden, he's terrible on Israel. He hates Israel, hates the Jews. He was basically trying to he does the browbeating of Jewish voters, So he was saying he hates Jews, but I guess he hates Palestinians a little bit more. And there was a smile, and I was like, because even he knew what he was saying was bullshit, and that actually Biden is helping genocide the Palestinian people. And there was that smirk as he understood that all of the Democratic voters, that now a YouGov poll proves that so many people voted on Gaza.
I mean, in that sense, he's an evil genius. The man is both an ignoramus and an evil genius. I mean, he went to Dearborn, Michigan, which Biden didn't dare to go to, Kamala Harris didn't dare to go to. He went to Dearborn, Michigan and said, I am a peacemaker. I will bring peace to the Middle East. Liz Cheney will get Muslims killed. Don't listen to Liz and Kamala. I'm the peacemaker, right? And people lapped it up, which is nonsense. Go back and look at Trump's first term. Again, I know Americans have the memory of a goldfish. The guy increased bombing in Iraq, bombed Syria, increased drone strikes in Pakistan and Somalia, helped MBS genocide Yemen, etc. I can go through the whole record. The idea that Donald Trump was some kind of anti-war, anti-interventionist candidate is a complete myth. But again, as you pointed out with the Bill Barr report, he's transactional. He didn't collude with Russia. He's anti-war. He's a master of getting these one-line narratives about himself out there, which somehow people stick to. He is Teflon Don.
Well, and it's more than him. I mean, I think, Mehdi, that it is this desire for a demagogue to just take the reins. And I think everyone has that. I'd loathe to think that I would have that but there is, even liberals or liberal media, there's hey, maybe he's such an idiot, he's smart.
Also strongman. I mean, I spoke to Noga Tarnopolsky yesterday in our live town hall for Zateo, the Israeli journalist, and she said, look, even Israeli leftist politicians are buying into this idea that he was this strongman who came in and just beat up Netanyahu and made him do it. And she didn't buy that narrative either, but even leftists see that. And by the way, one thing I would say about the American left is what I've seen over the last few days and during the election campaign is in the desperate desire to kick Joe Biden, which I totally get and understand. I've got a piece coming out in about 10 minutes on Joe Biden's awful legacy on Gaza. The problem is where I split with some of my fellow leftists in America is this idea that in order to do Biden down, you have to promote Trump. Right, this idea that Trump is bad. I can be very critical of everything Biden did without, drinking Kool-Aid about Donald Trump, and that is what I'm seeing now in the last few days. The reason why we're seeing in the narrative of Trump, the peacemaker, Trump did this ceasefire, not just the right pushing it. There's a lot of people on the left trying to attack Biden by saying, "Look, Trump did what you couldn't do," and I get all that, but that only helps the Trump narrative. Like I said, we don't know the backstory to this ceasefire deal yet. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if Trump went and twisted Benjamin Netanyahu's arm and made him do something he didn't want to do. We don't know what was offered in return. We don't know what the long-term consequences are for Gaza and the West Bank. But they're, again, graded on a curve. It's not just the right and liberal media that grade Trump on a curve. I think progressives do it too, because we're understandably so frustrated with the Democrats that we give Republicans a pass on things we wouldn't give Democrats a pass on.
I agree with that. I think we're trying to cajole.
Anti the entire establishment.
I think there's a desperation to cajole the liberal, the Democratic leadership to be like, see what a little bit of backbone might get you. I think, but you're right. There's a slippery slope there. And absolutely, it can play into the same Trump did a thing narrative that we know is bullshit.